For a few years in the 1970s, the Mr. Asia Syndicate made millions.
Heroin creates its own market. It acts like a form of plague.
Until jealousy, betrayal and murder brought it all crashing down.
Clark would have threatened him. Go and kill him. If you don't, I'm going to kill you and your wife and your son.
This is Mr. Asia, A Forgotten History. All episodes now available on iHeartRadio, Apple, Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.
You're listening to the Weekend Sport Podcast with Jason Pine from News Talk ZB.
Back-to-back victories for the Warriors here in 2025. Hasn't been easy for the home team and a real arm wrestle.
Yeah, back-to-back indeed for the Warriors after the loss to the Raiders first up in Vegas. It's a great pleasure to welcome into the News Talk ZB studio Warriors head coach Andrew Webster. Andrew, thank you so much for popping in. It's great to see you. Thanks for spending some time with us. You must come in as a pretty happy coach, I would imagine, with wins in the last two games against Manly and the Roosters. What have been the keys to those victories?
I think definitely effort, scramble. Boys are scrambling for each other. We haven't been perfect. I think we've actually conceded quite a few line breaks, but we only conceded one try on the weekend, and there were so many close moments for the opposition to score, and we found a way to get there and have each other's back and stop them. Definitely our kick chase. I think we're putting teams where we want them to start their sets from, which is applying a lot of pressure, and then we're coming over the top when it matters. So lots to work on. Like, we're nowhere near where we need to be, but at least we've got plenty of effort and we're working hard for each other. If we've got that at the end of the season and we start playing better, then that'll be good.
What happened in Vegas?
No, we were poor. Like, I can't put my finger on it. I think it's a real lesson in our preparation was really good, but it's not as good as until like we came home the next week and our prep was even better. We tried to keep the boys busy in Vegas just to keep them away from all the distractions. But in hindsight, I don't have the answers, but I just want to put a line through it, and hopefully I'm never going back to Vegas again.
I was going to ask that. Would you reconsider an invitation to go back? It's a part of the NRL's strategy. I think there was a lot of excitement, when the Warriors were selected as one of the teams to go. I know the fans loved it. Would you reconsider doing it again if you were invited?
Definitely. I mean, it's not my decision, really. I didn't get a say this time, and I'm sure I won't get a say next time, but I support the concept. Like, I'm glad that we did go, and glad our fans got to see us there. So, like, if they wanted us to go again and it made sense for our fans, then we'll take that tough carry for everyone. But, there was lots of love about it. Look, we got to see and do some things that some of our boys will never get to do in their lives, So rugby league takes you all around the world, but we're just disappointed we didn't do it for all those fans because we were so well supported. Everywhere you walked, you just saw Warriors fans, and then, we felt like we let them down a bit.
Let's talk about a couple of players. Your halves combo, Chanel Harris-Tavita, Luke Metcalf. Yep. You've selected them for the first three games. In fact, it's been the same 17 for the first three games, which has been terrific. What do you predict for Chanel and Luke as the season goes on? I
just think once they build that combination, they're going to thrive. Otherwise, we wouldn't have them there. And we've got two great backups in Tamati and Tanner Boyd that at any time we could call on, and they do a fantastic job. They're playing really good football in their own right and reserve grade at the moment. I think these boys have had real glimpses of real good footy. I think Vegas, we didn't give them an opportunity to Raiders to show what they could do off the way we defended. I just think like round two, you got to see Luke and Chanel really thrive at the back end of the game, and the same thing happened on the weekend. Like they want to improve things. We'd like them to improve, but we're absolutely wrapped with what they're achieving so far, particularly with their kicking game. Like they're putting the opposition's right where we want it, like I said. So that's pretty cool.
How challenging has it been for Luke Metcalf to step into the boots of a club legend like Shaun Johnson?
You'd have to ask Luke, but on the surface, he seems really cool. He seems really calm about what he wants to do. He's excited for the next challenge. He wants the reins. So what I've seen is a guy who wants to improve every day. He knows what he's good at. I haven't noticed anything that's alarming or that he's struggling with the pressure. I think Shaun got to play, over 200 games of NRL. Luke's early on in his career, so there are different ends of the spectrum. But I think Luke's handling the situation really well.
And Tamati played in the halves quite a lot last year. He's still in your plans for 2025?
Yeah, it's going to take a squad to win this if we want to win it. And some stage, Tamati's either going to force his way in there or there's going to be an injury. And if he's ready, we've got a great guy in Tamati to come in. Like I said, same as Tanner Boyd. So, no, I think we're very blessed there. A lot of clubs love 4 halfbacks like we've got, but you need them. Like they're so important for your depth. And, he's playing really good footy. Any
updated time frame on Dallin Watene-Zelezniak's return?
No. So Dallin, he goes back to the surgeon this week. He gets the, I think it's the wire. Don't hold me to that. Wire or screw out this week, and then that just basically starts working on how he can get his strength and his range back, and then we'll know more. But I think the round 10's the plan at this stage.
From a wider point of view, they always say that you shouldn't ride the highs too high or the lows too low, and you always strike me as being very level.
Yeah.
Before a game, during a game, after a game, win or lose. How do you manage your emotions, particularly after a defeat?
I think the only pressure I put on is to put the pressure from myself. I think that's what I mean by that is I don't listen to the outside noise. I only care about the people in our 4 walls. So I think when you have high expectations, which I do, and I want to win and be successful, they're only my expectation, not somebody else's. When you're trying to meet someone else's, that's when you have fear of loss, or you start changing who you are, and you start getting emotional and you start losing a little bit. And I'm not perfect with that either. Like, trust me, I think the camera's pretty kind to me during the game. There's a few moments there where I'm yelling and screaming. But yeah, I'm just on the surface, like I've got examples round 1 Vegas. At the end of the day, I was disappointed because of the occasion, but I just looked at it as round 1. There's a long way to go. A week in rugby league's a long time. If we win next game, there's the confidence, then we can build on that. So, I just look at it probably a bit different than most people.
And even though it's between your 4 walls, and that's obviously the best way to do it, your inner sanctum, the people who you trust, do you stew on defeat?
Yeah, it hurts. Like, it hurts deep down. Like, when I say deep down, like, it doesn't leave until you make it right. Even like some losses in my life that I just think, as a player when I was playing under 7's grand final, like to now, like they hurt, and they hurt less every day, but they're still there. And everyone wants to win. And I hate losing, but you got to get over yourself, and you got to get over the occasion. But sometimes it doesn't hurt to let it sit with you for a bit, so you never want to go back there. I struggle just as much as anyone with losing.
But Mondays must be a heck of a lot nicer around the playing group as well when you get a win. I can imagine these boys bounding it on a Monday after a win. Is that the case?
Well, when you play Friday nights, which we have the last 2, and you win, we do a review on Saturday and a recovery session, and they bounce in tired, sore, but they've got a smile on their face, and then they get a day and a half off and bounce back in Monday. So I've certainly lost on Friday night, and the rest of the weekend doesn't feel the same. But the boys are in a good mood at the moment.
2023 was an exceptional year for you. 2024, not so much.
Yep.
What was different last year?
Well, the results obviously were. Like, we finished 13th as opposed to 4th. We had a lot of injuries, but I still don't believe, even if we had everyone available, still don't think we would have achieved what we wanted to achieve. So I certainly think we would have improved. But the big thing for me is I assumed a couple of things, if I'm being honest. I thought that we practiced hard, we were fit, we worked at our game. There was always a focus. Like I said, getting back to expectation, everyone was talking about the external noise of the nation and everyone thinks we can win the comp. It was more our own expectations. We were hungry for it. We want it. And when we didn't reach those expectations, you could see that we didn't get over it well. And everyone started to struggle with that moment, and therefore we didn't defend our try line, and we carried that moment on. So I think we've done really well so far this year that when that moment comes, we get over it quick and we move on. And we've still got expectations and standards, but we don't have as much anxiety around them.
You lost some big players ahead of this season. Shaun Johnson, we mentioned, Tohu Harris in particular. Those 2 guys, what kind of hole do they leave, not just on the field, but around the playing group?
Yeah, I just think every hole that's left, someone fills it. Like, and it's cliche, but like, you do not lead and do not have the space to lead when there's dominant figures like Tohu and Shaun. Tohu's greatest strength is that he gives space for other people to lead. Shaun's greatest strength is he's dominant. He's a halfback. He should be. But at the same stage, he's a team guy, you know. But they definitely leave a hole, and then you see people step up and want that. So, yeah, I don't know. I look at it from an optimistic point of view that whilst we miss them and would love to have them around, we've got guys like Luke Metcalf. We've got a guy like Aaron Clark who's come back home, and he's got an opportunity to step up into that space. And you can just see he's playing great footy.
Do Tohu and Shaun and others who have left the playing group still have a contribution to make?
I think they will for the rest of their lives if they want to, and I think they will if we allow them to. Simon Mannering's always welcome. Dean Bell is the first captain's welcome. So I definitely think Tohu and Shaun, being recent retired and being such good players. I mean, we had Tohu around the week leading up to his his farewell, which we had at the Manly game, and Shaun's been at training a few times. So, yeah, and Shaun's going to do some work with our younger players. So, they definitely have a big part to play. It's just making sure they feel welcome, which they are, and just making sure, hopefully, when they're 80, they're still having that in some form.
I'm sure they will. James,
I'll be dead by then.
I was going to say, you're still having a contribution
I'll be
at that stage. I'm sure you'll still be around. James Fisher-Harris.
Yep.
Can you talk to us a bit about his influence on the side, what you've seen from him since his arrival?
Yeah, I think our standards improved from him just walking through the door. I just think, before he even said a word, I think players saw the way he played, they heard his reputation. Some of our boys playing Kiwis with him and Maldies, and they knew, okay, these are the standards, and they didn't want to let him down, or they wanted to be part of that. So I think our intensity of training improved straight away, and I think Fish definitely drove that by his actions. We've got a guy, Mitch Barnett, who's also very good at that already. He's exceptional, and hence why they're co-captains. But then when Mitch has an ally in Fish, and both are training like that, then everyone's got to lift their standards.
Because there was talk when James Fisher-Harris came in that he might be given the captaincy. You might choose him as your captain.
Yep.
Was there a reluctance to do that because it might have just added more to his plate?
Yep. Yeah. And James knows this. We've had good conversations. I had no plans on making him captain just from he wanted to come here and improve. I didn't want him to feel like he was our saviour. We're going to put added pressure on his back. But then also, I was also aware of last year how good Mitch's leadership skills were, and when Tohu got injured, how he lifted and what he created for the team. And then when I saw Fish arrive and I saw Mitch doing what he's doing, and they were doing stuff together, and also a bit of yin and yang. Mitch is very loud and emotional. James is very quiet, but when he talks, everyone stops. So I just thought he's a perfect example of yin and yang, a bit like my marriage. And I thought it'd be perfect for them, and for the team and for the nation. So they just made a great fit. And then I spoke to James, said, look, I wasn't going to do this. I didn't think it would work, but I think it would be perfect for us. Do you want it? And he wanted it. And I've already spoken to Mitch, and they both wanted to do it together.
Ivan Cleary, a guy you worked with at Penrith, you know him well. No doubt you still have a little bit to do with him. How much of an influence has Ivan Cleary been on you?
Yeah, no, huge. Yeah, I mean, Ivan, obviously I've learned a lot of stuff about rugby league. I've obviously learned a lot of things, how you carry yourself. The biggest thing from Ivan is I've never seen a guy have such a good balance between working hard and family. And I think his family values then transfer into his work values. So he treats his players like they're his family, his staff. He's big on connection and everyone being close together and wanting to come to work every day. Just creates a great environment. And I learned a lot about that, and I felt like they're close to my values as well, which is cool. The big thing Ivan's taught me is you can't copy and paste. You've always got to be your authentic self. So not necessarily everything he does is going to work for me or for the next coach, but I bloody learn a lot from him, you know. So I got to copy a few things.
Yeah, oh look, absolutely. Imitation's the sincerest form of flattery, they say, and why wouldn't you when he's been so successful? You talked about him, you know, mixing, balancing family with his work, but one of his family's at work.
Yeah,
you know. So what have you observed from him? Because I don't know this to be true, but if I was coaching my son, I don't know how I would do that. Well, how does he do it?
I think the luckiest thing Ivan's got is his son. Well, when I say lucky, I mean, in the day, I mean, who would? It's just how it's happened. But Nathan's a great playmaker, and you got the coach. So when the playmaker and the coach discuss tactics, you know that you got complete buy-in and faith in the plan. And Ivan's sitting there in the coach's box looking down saying, I'm really confident my son can do this. And I just feel like when Ivan talks, Nathan drives those messages really well. Therefore, everyone's got buy-in, everyone's going in the same direction. So I think that's a real advantage on it. I don't think Nathan's position in the team's ever doubted. Is he?
No.
When you coach your son and you're not sure and you're like, I need to be harder on him because everyone thinks I'm soft.
Yeah.
I don't think Ivan has to do that, does he? So he's really clear that they can have a great relationship, still a father-son relationship, in my opinion. Like, you can definitely still see it. But, they're both very introverted, so it's not like they're on top of each other every day at work either. But they have an awesome relationship, and I think it's a lot of trust from a footy point of view and a personal point of view.
You're managing a wide variety of personalities among the young men in your charge.
Yep.
What is your basic man management philosophy?
Well, people's my thing. You know, that's why I want to do the job. Like, I enjoy people. If I had to cut vision, come up with tactics, and then pass it to somebody, and then they go deliver it, and I don't even talk to that person, I wouldn't enjoy it. Just because that's the most exciting part, having an impact on someone's life, and helping people grow, and as a result, everyone does. My man management style is like work with people, not on top of them or or against them. I rarely give a spray, but I'm firm. So when I raise my voice or I make a point, I feel like it's clear. Clarity is my whole thing. Sorry, my voice is going. No. But if you're clear on what your roles and expectations are, and you feel like you have a say in something, and you feel empowered, and you feel belong and loved, then you're going to excel.
Yeah, absolutely. Are there philosophies that work across everybody, or is everyone really different from one another?
I think if you treat people well and you develop people, that'll work in any environment. Doesn't mean you can't be really brutally honest as well. But I think also too, a toxic environment will only work for so long. Like, I've seen harsh, aggressive environments where they have short-term gains, but long-term they always fail. They fall apart very quickly. But you can see a real spike in people are on their toes. People are worried, I better be good at this, otherwise this is going to happen. But you can't sustain it. Yeah.
I had Cam George in here last year, and I asked him this question I ask you as well. I asked him whether he thought a sporting franchise or any organisation could survive one dickhead. He said no.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
I think no dickhead policy will always give you your best chance of success. That's for sure. I think the thing is, sometimes if there's a guy who's a bit rough around the edges and you've got an amazing culture and established one, they could help grow that person into an even better person. But if they're fundamentally deep down a dickhead and always going to be one, then they shouldn't be in your organisation. Or if they are, they shouldn't be there for long.
Players always talk about having a why. I'm sure coaches do as well. You alluded to it before. I think it's based around the people that you work with, the men that you work alongside, those who you influence on a day-to-day basis. Is that your why, or is it greater than that? Why do you do this?
Well, I've got different whys now. I think your why changes as you go. My why has not been I want to be a head coach for any other reason than I just feel like you want that feeling of, I think I'd be good at it. I feel like if you enjoy your job and you reap rewards, then you get that self-satisfaction. I'm not in it for the pats on the back, if I'm being honest. From everyone else, it's just like I would love to create an environment where everyone loves coming to work and they can be their best and succeed, and that is so satisfying to be a part of that. see other people grow, and that's just my thing. That's my why. I love the game. Like, I genuinely love footy. I'd be doing it for nothing. In the old days, I'm sure they all coached, for no money. But I'd be one of those guys. Like, I genuinely love rugby league, and I love people. But, for my family as well. Like, for my mum and dad, my brother and sister, my wife, my little boy, like, I'd like to make them proud, and one day they can see. Mum and dad always used to say, if you find something that you're passionate about, you should chase it, and that if that becomes your job, you're pretty lucky. And I don't know if enough people have that in their life. So if I can teach my son that'd be pretty cool.
How do you switch off?
Quite easy. Got almost a 2-year-old little boy. It's pretty
go.
easy. Walk in the door, he's smiling at me, or he's blowing up at me. You got to do this, Dad. Come on, more. And my wife, like and my friends. Like, I'm a very social person. We love going out for lunch, dinner, those type of things. It's hard to get a babysitter, but we've got some great ones here in Auckland that look after Max every time. But just spending time with family, friends. The big one for me is got hobbies. I'd love to play golf more. I don't do that enough, so I shouldn't even say that anymore because I don't play. It's like I'm lying to all the listeners right now.
Oh, I really love my
golf.
Haven't played for a year or so.
Yeah, how often do you play with it? Twice in 2.5 years. Yeah, it's not very good. And I love horse racing. Yeah, not so much the gambling side of it. I love the tactical side, the breeding side of it. That's a great distraction for me.
All right, let's end back at the start where we are now, with a season stretching ahead of us.
Yep.
Feel confident about 2025?
Yeah, definitely. I think the biggest thing I've learned about creating our own expectation on ourselves is, it's boring, but don't look too far ahead. The reason why I talk about that right now is we've been in this situation last year. I think we lost the first round of the year. We even lost the second, and then we went on. We won the second, and then we went on a run, and we won like three or four in a row. And this is our year. It's just such a marathon, but we've been confident. We were confident last year. We've been confident since day one, but there's certainly no overconfidence there, and we're not taking anything for granted. We've got so much work to do, but we're a group of players that they're all buying. They all care about this country. They care about the results. They want to play for the Warriors, to do their best. So, if we can carry that on all year and make sure we keep putting our energy into the right stuff, then we should have a good season.
Last question is around the connection to your fans.
Yep.
How important is that, and how important are your fans to you?
Yeah, well, getting back to the why a bit, like, I'm an Australian. Like, I came back to this club after working here for 8 years ago, so I had a connection here then, and I didn't want to be a head coach at any club. I wanted to be where I felt like I would fit. And for some reason, I feel like I fit here, and I hope that everyone feels the same. So then coming back, then my why was about, I just want to improve people and everyone to be happy, create a great environment where people can be the best. And then before I know it, like, I want the fans to taste that success. But more like grand finals, that's our goal. Like, I can promise everyone that, but the real goal is sustained success on the fans being proud of the way the boys play, even when we're not at our best. And that's, I feel like last year we came 13th, but we sold it out every week. They still saw effort, they still saw care, they still saw a team that they wanted to come and support. So they're part of my why, the fans. And we're taking a game to Christchurch in a couple of weeks. We go to Australia, we're so well supported. We go, I'm not going to mention the teams, we go to away games and we've got more fans than them sometimes. We're very proud of that as a club, and I'm very proud to be a part of it. So they're huge for us, yeah, definitely.
Andrew, thanks for stopping in. Great to see you. I know you're a busy man. All the best on behalf of our audience for the rest of 2025. Hope we can catch up again soon.
No, thank you so much for having me, and thanks for everyone.
No, thanks for joining us, Webby. Andrew Webster, the head coach of the Warriors. Great to get the chance to spend an extended period of time with him.
For more from Weekend Sport with Jason Pine, listen live to News Talk ZB weekends from midday, or follow the podcast on iHeartRadio.